Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So good evening, everyone. Hare Krishna. So tonight I thought we would read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 4, entitled Transcendental Knowledge, and text 34. So I'll just read the Sanskrit and then the translation and purport commentary. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. So here's the translation. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Purport. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharman tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path. Nor by independent study of books, of knowledge, can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the tests of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries become perfect. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karirvachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitananam Panchakoptribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So read the translation again. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Hare Krishna. So this idea of guru and disciple is a very age-old, ancient idea. And it's so ancient that it's been going on since the dawn of creation. It's been going on for a very long time. So traditionally, a student, we're talking some time ago, traditionally a student would seek out a spiritual master or seek out a guru. Nowadays, a lot of the times, the guru is seeking out the disciples because people aren't so madly interested in accepting a guru for different reasons. We can imagine. So, but nonetheless, still, even nowadays, people are maybe seeking a guru, maybe seeking a teacher. Srila Prabhupada, founder of the Harekrishna movement, as we know, he boarded the Jaladuta boat, cargo ship, to America. And it was a long journey, about a little more than a month, and on the sea. And interesting enough is that he had heart attacks. Two heart attacks. It's quite a dramatic, inspiring story. Made it to America, then spread the Krishna consciousness all over the world. There's a movie that just came out. You could order it. It's called Hare Krishna, the mantra, the movement, the Swami who started it all. So it's a documentary about Srila Prabhupada. So he came to America on that boat, and interesting enough is that that same boat going back to America, two of his, excuse me, that same boat going back to India, what happened is two young men boarded that boat, and they were going to India to find a guru. Same boat. But interesting enough is that those two men, they went to India and they went around and tried to find a guru. Those same two men, they came back to America and they met Prabhupada and accepted him as a guru. So they became disciples. I think that was, who was that, Dravida Prabhu? Hayagriva and Kirtananda. So, anyways, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, there's different types of gurus within the Krishna conscious tradition or Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and you could say they've been categorized into three: the Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, which means that person who shows one the path. So it could be as simple as, hey, there's a really cool temple in Pacific Beach. Did you ever go to that temple? And they said, no. Oh yeah, you should go. Or whatever, they have a good feast, you should go. Or they give an invitation or a book. So somehow or other they inform a person about Krishna and Krishna consciousness. The Vartma Pradarshaka, they show one the path. And then upon reaching the path, one comes in contact with other gurus, and which have been described as the Shiksha gurus, or the instructing spiritual masters. So, in other words, one who guides the person within their life towards Krishna. And then there's the Diksha spiritual master, which the Diksha spiritual master is one who initiates the disciple and gives them a spiritual name, indicating that they're a servant of Krishna, so they don't forget. And the disciple takes vows, promises to the guru that they will follow certain principles, moral principles, and chant a particular number of rounds a day on the beads. So we have these beads, japa, mala. So 108 beads. On each bead, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the next bead. So 108 times, that's one round. So the disciple will vow for the rest of their life to chant 16 rounds a day, which isn't very difficult. Traditionally, people would chant with initiated or followers within this tradition would chant 64 rounds a day, which comes to about 8 hours, something like that. So 16 rounds, 2 hours. So somehow or other, those who take initiation, they make the time to do that. So, all these gurus, the Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, the Shiksha Guru, the Diksha Guru, it is all part of the Vedic system or the system of Krishna consciousness. The gurus and the disciples and all, and these different ideas. It's all within the paradigm, and they're all important to uplift the soul from illusion. So, in relation to the Diksha spiritual master, like I was saying, he gives you the holy name of Krishna, right, to chant. Takes the vow. You take a vow to chant to him. So it's not only that the student accepts the guru, but the guru has to accept the student. So both have to happen. So sometimes the guru may not accept the student, or sometimes the student may not accept the guru. So there was one story in which there was a prospective student, and he wanted to accept a particular guru. But for whatever reason, this guru didn't want to accept him. So he came up with an idea in his mind. And the idea was that, okay, I'm going to somehow or other, I'm going to get this mantra from him. Whatever it takes, I'm going to get the Hare Krishna mantra from him. Because that's the idea. The guru gives you the mantra. So then the guru was walking one day, he walks in the room, and then the prospective disciple's there. So then the prospective disciple, he puts out his foot, and then he trips the guru. And the guru says, Hare Krishna. And then the prospective disciple says, all right, I got the mantra from you. So that's not... What is that? I don't think so. Yeah, Rascal. Rascal. You got a name, Rascal. You rascal. So that's not the process, though it has to be given. One has to humble themselves and then like that. Srila Prabhupada tells a story. He was with his disciples in Germany, and there's this very famous picture, or at least so many pictures of Prabhupada, but there's a picture of Prabhupada, and he's got this huge smile on his face. He's laughing. And there's a bunch of young devotees around, and it's in Germany. And I never knew, of course you don't know, sometimes you don't know the history behind a particular picture, what was so funny, what were they laughing about. So anyways, Prabhupada tells a story, and this is what they're laughing about. He tells a story that there's a guru and a disciple, and then the disciple, he makes all this grand reception for the guru. Cooks a big opulent feast, buys him all these costly gifts, and really goes out of his way to serve the guru. So many gifts, nice feast. So then the guru asks the disciple, "Oh, this is really expensive. How did you manage to pay for all this?" And then the disciple said, "Oh, it's all your mercy, Guruji. It's all your mercy, It's the mercy of you." And then Prabhupada explains that the disciple, but he didn't tell, the disciple didn't tell the guru that, "Oh yeah, by the way, I was using your money to do that." I used your money to buy the feast, to cook the feast and all that. Gifts. It's Prabhupada. So yeah, the idea is that we have to approach the guru in a particular way. So these are the ways we don't, right? We don't trip him. We don't take his money and serve him. We do it in you could say, more gentlemanly way or lady way. So Srila Prabhupada, he came to America, and then he went back to India to spread Krishna consciousness, and he brought some of his American disciples and European disciples. So what they would do is they would hold these huge Pandal programs, which is a big festival, Hare Krishna festival, and they would advertise all over the city. So they advertised, and they had a big festival in Delhi, New Delhi. And every day they were getting about 2,000 people. Was it 2,000? No, excuse me, 20,000 people. Not 2,000, 20,000. And Srila Prabhupada was speaking there, and they're having kirtan and all. So what happened was, one day when Srila Prabhupada was on the stage speaking to all the people, one wild young man came up, and he was a Westerner, either from Europe or America, and he had big leather boots and iron chain around his neck, and he was wearing a vest with his bare chest showing, and just long wild hair, just really kind of intense looking person. So then he's coming to the stage, and devotees sense that, okay, this person may get violent, because people get violent. So then they told him, okay, no, don't go to the stage. And then Srila Prabhupada saw him, and Prabhupada told his disciples, bring him up to the stage. So then he was brought up to the stage, and then Prabhupada said, give him a seat. So then he was given a seat, and Prabhupada said, give him a microphone. So Prabhupada would do all types of interesting stuff sometimes, right? So then Prabhupada was there, and then the young man was there, and Prabhupada said, oh, do you have a question? Do you want to say something? And then the young man said, yes, I do. And in a very challenging way, he said, have you realized yourself within yourself? And then, this is in front of 20,000 people, and microphone. And then Prabhupada said, yes, I have. Matter of fact, yes. And then the young man asked, how old is the Bhagavad Gita? And then Prabhupada said, 5,000 years old. And the young man said, well, according to my research, and according to so-and-so and such, it's 2,000 years old. And then Prabhupada said, oh, that's nonsense. And then, and still the man was arguing with Prabhupada about this point, it being 2,000 years old or 5,000 years old. And then it actually became into a big fight. It became a big fight. And then Prabhupada said, what is the process of understanding the Bhagavad Gita? And then the man, he refused to answer. He said, no. He said, I asked you first. And then Prabhupada said, I'm not your servant. I'm not obliged to answer you. And then it just became more and more heated discussion. And then eventually Prabhupada just told his disciples, okay, tell them to, or remove them off of the stage. So then at that point, devotees who were in the crowd, they said that the whole audience became polarized, that one group was on the young man's side, and one group was on Srila Prabhupada's side. But the devotees who were in the crowd, they were distributing books, and they said that a lot of people were angry. They're saying, oh, why didn't your guru answer him? And he lost his temper, and you should have answered. So then devotees retreated from the crowd because it was like an angry mob of people. So then in the back stage, all the organizers were also upset, and they started telling some of Srila Prabhupada's disciples that, oh, your guru, he lost his temper. And he ruined everything, he spoiled everything. And then there was one devotee, Malati Devi Dasi, female disciple of Prabhupada, and she said, oh, my guru didn't spoil anything. And then she slapped him around the cheek. Anyway. But Srila Prabhupada was making a very important point by this, you could say, dramatic display, in that he was saying, what is the process of understanding Bhagavad Gita? And Srila Prabhupada, and the process is here in this particular verse, 434, which we just read, Tadvidhi pranipatena. To approach a guru, inquire submissively, and render service, the self-realized souls can impart knowledge because they've seen the truth. So there was two things, that to approach an authority on the matter and to inquire submissively. So this young man, he approached an authority, namely Srila Prabhupada, but it wasn't submissively. It was in a very challenging way. And therefore he didn't get his... So anyway, Srila Prabhupada was demonstrating this practically, that this is the process. So, and this is practical, whatever you could say, field of knowledge that we enter into, it all has a process, right? You go to the college, you pay fees, tuition, inquire from the professor, like that. So the idea is that we want, or we should, accept a guru or gurus, and we should inquire from them and serve them and get knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And this is the whole, you could say, mission or point of human life, is to get this transcendental knowledge and to act on it and to rise to the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. So we shouldn't miss the opportunity if we have it. We shouldn't miss it. We should try to find a spiritual master and engage in the process. And ultimately, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants everyone to become a guru. He says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Yari Dekita ka Krishna Badesh Amar Gai Hoi Guru Tar Idesh, that whoever you meet, wherever you go, you tell them about Krishna, and in this way you become a guru and you liberate the land. So this is an order or a request to his followers, those within the Krishna conscious movement, that whoever we meet, we tell them about Krishna. In this way we become a guru and liberate the land. So yes, we accept a guru, or we accept gurus, and then we should also become gurus, and in our own way, and tell people about Krishna. So I'll stop there. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything? That phone just made a noise. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. So we will. Yes.
Women can be gurus too.
You want to be a guru?
Can I?
Yeah, you could be a guru.
And should I go to school, or what should I do?
Should you go to school, or what should you do? Well, you should read Bhagavad Gita regularly, and whatever you read, you can repeat to people, and repeat the message, because that's what a guru means. It means that they hear the message, and then they repeat it, and they don't change it, and therefore Bhagavad Gita as it is. So there's so many Bhagavad Gitas, by the way. In many of the Bhagavad Gitas, they do not capture the true spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. In other words, people, they completely distort the message, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, trying to remove Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, but he's the one who spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada doesn't remove Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, but he puts Krishna in his... And you could say he gives us his purports and his explanations in such a way that we understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we actually become devoted to him, to Krishna. So we shouldn't read any Bhagavad Gita, because a lot of them aren't really authorized. But if we read Bhagavad Gita as it is and repeat the message, then that is the basic, you could say, basic duty of any guru, is to repeat the message. And Prabhupada, he gave the example of a postman or a postwoman. Says that when they're delivering the mail, they don't mess with it, right? They don't open it up and remove something or put something in there. If they do that, that's illegal, and they're a criminal and they're going to get in trouble. So, you order something from Amazon, you order a sweater, and then the sweater's removed and a t-shirt's put in there by the postman. You wouldn't be very happy, right? Huh? Yeah, at least it came the next day. Yeah, Prime, right? So you could return it quick. So we don't want anything added to our mail. We don't want anything subtracted. So that is the qualification, you could say, of a bona fide or authorized postman or woman, that they just deliver it. So that's what Prabhupada would say, that a guru, they just deliver the message. They don't add anything. They don't subtract anything. And if they do that, they are cheaters. Why? Or pretenders. Prabhupada says foolish pretenders. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of foolish pretenders. Why? Because religion is enunciated, or the process is enunciated by Krishna himself. Like the Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna's words. And there's a whole line coming down. So yes, you could be a guru, you should be a guru. But first we have to learn, right? We have to learn what we've learn what's been being taught, and then we have to live it, right? And we have to distribute it. Prabhu says, learn it, live it, and then give it, right? So we learn it, live it, and then give it. So that's the idea, to do that. And anybody could do that. Prabhupada would give the example of Saraswati. This was Malati's young daughter, about 3 years old. So she was in India with her mother and father, Shamasundar Prabhu. So she would go up to these Indian businessmen and a young little girl, 3 years old, and she would say, "Oh, do you know who is Krishna?" And then they would say whatever they would say, yes or no, or some of them would say no, and then she says, "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should surrender to him." So young Saraswati. So Prabhupada would give the example of her, that she was their guru. She was teaching them. So whatever she knew, she would explain, although being so young. So, yeah. Yes, Christian. Can someone accept a guru younger than them? Yes. I mean, we find this within people, human nature. If somebody's older, they have a hard time sometimes taking instruction or lesson, what to speak of accepting as a guru, somebody who's younger than them. Because they feel that, okay, hey, I've been around and I'm older, and that's the general thing. But yeah, that is there, that one can accept a guru that's younger than them. And there's so many, the thing is, Krishna consciousness is not restricted by age or anything material. So, example of Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami, who spoke the Bhagavatam, such a great self-realized, pure, on the highest level personality. It said that when he arrived on the scene to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the book that comes after the Bhagavad Gita, 18,000 verses. When he came, he was materially young. It says he was 16 years old. And there were so many elderly persons there who were super qualified. Narada Muni and Vyasadeva, right? And so many, you can imagine all these great sages there, and then this young boy comes, 16 years old. And then he was the one who spoke the Bhagavatam. So, but of course it's not of course automatic that, okay, one is young, one is old, they'll develop Krishna consciousness. But there is cases like that. And of what to speak of Prahlad Maharaj, young boy, he's 5 years old. So many wonderful teachings in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj has, and Dhruva Maharaj, also 5 years old. So these are examples of devotees who are young, but materially speaking, but are great gurus, great personalities. I mean, there was one boy in Lord Chaitanya's time. Lord Chaitanya, apparently, he had a hard time not chanting Hare Krishna. In other words, he couldn't stop chanting Hare Krishna. Lord Chaitanya was just chanting all the time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So he went into the, whatever, I don't know, restroom facility, bathroom facility, whatever they had at that point, and he couldn't stop chanting. But generally, when somebody goes into such an unclean place, then they don't want to do anything that's like pure, such as chant or read scripture or anything like that. It's an unclean place. So then Lord Chaitanya would actually forcibly grab his tongue so he could stop chanting. So then there was this young boy, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He said, "Why are you?" Somehow or other he found out or heard that Lord Chaitanya would do this, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And Lord Chaitanya, "Oh, it's a unclean place, this and that, and so on." And then this boy said, "Well, the whole point of human life is to remember Krishna at the time of death. It's a very important point. Anta Narayana Smritihi, right? At the end, we want to remember Krishna. Why? Because then we go to Krishna, go to the spiritual world. So death could come at any time. It could come, you could be this place, that place, so you should chant all the time. So I don't think you should not chant. And then Lord Chaitanya said, "Yes, you're right." And then he gave him the name Gopal Guru. He's a guru, little boy, Gopal Guru. And then he actually became a great, later on in his life, he became a great Vaishnava teacher, Acharya, Gopal Guru. So there's so many cases. But generally nowadays, I mean, of course in relation to Diksha spiritual master, generally they're of elderly age, usually. But of course the Shiksha Guru, one may accept instructions from anyone. And actually an intelligent person, a thoughtful person, a person who wants to learn will accept within reason everybody as their guru. In other words, you could learn from everybody. It doesn't matter if they're young or old or this or that, or it doesn't really matter. So that's a humble principle in which we're supposed to operate on. I think, Jamal, you had something? Or did you? I don't know.
Are there hindrances in spiritual life if one doesn't accept the guru?
Are there hindrances in spiritual life if one does not accept a guru? Yes. Because the influence, especially nowadays, of society, means materialistic mainstream society, and all of its advertisements, and they're also preaching to us all the time via radio and internet and television and movies and music. It's all a form of preaching, actually. So that influence could weigh on us and it could influence us in such a way we start accepting these people as gurus. We may not consciously say, oh, these are my gurus, but actually these people are forming the way in which we think, and the way in which we live, and the way in which we mold our lives and our goals. So it could be a little scary sometimes, knowing what is being preached out there. So, and then even if someone will say, oh, well, I don't accept any of them, well, then we accept our mind. We may accept our mind as our guru, which may be also materialistically inclined or conditioned. So the idea of accepting a guru, it's not, of course, for people it may seem challenging or limiting or difficult, but it's actually easy and liberating and wonderful to do that, to accept a guru or gurus, because by their association we're actually uplifted and raised. So it shouldn't be a scary thing that, oh, I accept a guru, but it should be a thing which people are eager for. And yeah, and if one doesn't, then yeah, things could be very difficult. And of course, for those who haven't accepted a Diksha spiritual master, then yeah, they should accept Shiksha spiritual masters, Shiksha gurus. And also they should know within their minds that Srila Prabhupada is the main Shiksha guru for everybody. But there's also this idea which is nonsensical and found nowhere within the Vedic text or the Bhakti literatures, that anyone, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he left this world, right? Moved on to preach or go back to Godhead, wherever he went. But anyone now, by a particular process, they could become initiated by Srila Prabhupada and be his direct disciple, means Diksha Guru. So this particular idea is found nowhere within this particular tradition. There's no cases of that a guru leaves this world and then out of my own volition or somebody else initiates a process somehow, that I accept that particular guru who moved on and I'm a direct disciple. It doesn't work like that. But there's a huge movement within India, which you could say is an off-branch of ISKCON, which propound that idea, which is wrong. And within America, it's smaller. So whatever we do, it has to be backed up through Bhagavad Gita, through Srimad Bhagavatam, if we want to claim to be in the particular tradition. So to accept that, okay, Prabhupada, he's everybody's guru, true. But he's not everybody's Diksha spiritual master. He's everybody's Shiksha spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada would say, he would, and per the, looking at the tradition, going back, there's the idea of Diksha initiation from the spiritual master, that is there within the tradition. So, yes, the point is we should accept a guru, we shouldn't accept. Yes?
Short comment that maybe addresses both of the young men's
Okay.
questions, and that is that when I was a very young man, I went with some friends that were brahmacharis. We went together, we traveled, and we followed Srila Prabhupada around everywhere. And because I'm a stupid idiot, when I had many chances to take initiation, Srila Prabhupada, the day before I was going to take it, I read an article, one of the early Bhakti Godheads, that was written by Bhakti Vedanta Swami about Harinam initiation. If you read that article, it's a very heavy, it's like ready for it, don't do it, and blah, blah, blah. And it's really heavy to read it. And I said, hey, I'm not ready for this. So I didn't take initiation. I kept dragging it out, dragging it out, dragging it out. And Srila Prabhupada left his body, so then I said, there's nobody else I can take initiation from, you know. But I kept dragging, and then to make the long story very short, one of those friends of mine, which is the brahmachari that we went together to see Srila Prabhupada, I eventually, many years later, said, hey, can you initiate me?
Oh, nice.
So I took initiation from I don't know if he's younger or older, I have no idea. But I took initiation from Bhakti Marg Swami, who was my friend as a brahmachari, but he kept on, he was advanced so much during that time, and he gave me initiation. And for you, Prabhu, I think yes, or I could say it is definitely a hindrance not to take. And when you're serious and you're ready, like anything else, I don't care what you do, you have to, this is a regulated, you know, it's etched in stone, you know, that's why he started the class by Bhagavad Gita as it is, in the postman story. It's perfect for this, you know, we don't want to speculate or invent anything, you know, just follow the tradition. It'll help you.
Yes.
One, this is from, there's two references. One from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Article 146, and also 135. One should always remember that a person who is reluctant to accept a spiritual master and be initiated is sure to be baffled in his endeavor to go back to Godhead. So you can mull on that. Clear.
So we have, this is your name, Murari Gupta, right? So his name Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta in Chaitanya, in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, he is a incarnation of Hanuman. So what happened is Lord Chaitanya, he was testing Murari Gupta, and he was saying that I know you're worshiping Lord Ram, but you should chant Hare Krishna, you should worship Krishna, you know, the form of Krishna. So then what happened is Murari Gupta went to his house that night, and he was trying to transfer his devotion and his mind to Krishna, you know, Krishna playing the flute and threefold bending form Krishna. But he couldn't forget Lord Ramchandra. He was having a really difficult time. And he actually was having such a difficult time that he went to Chaitanya, and he was thinking of, maybe I should just end my life, you know, I can't follow Lord Chaitanya's instructions, and I'm just... So then he went to Lord Chaitanya and said, I'm so sorry, I can't transfer my mind to Krishna. My mind, it keeps on going to Lord Ramchandra. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, I was testing you. And he said, you're actually Hanuman, you know, because Hanuman's the great, you know, servant of Lord Ramchandra. So, did you have something?
My dad always used to say, apart from the initiation of Diksha Guru, he used to say that anyone who has love for Krishna and who share that love for Krishna is my guru. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyone who inspires us in Krishna consciousness can be guru. All right, yes.
Another example, you mentioned that on the path of pursuing Krishna or getting that spark that changes your life. You know, there's a, I don't know if you want to speak about Bill Mangala Thakur,
Yeah.
was inspired to take the path of Krishna consciousness from his introductory group.
All right. So he wants Bill of Mangala Thakur. Okay. So Bill of Mangala Thakur, well, I'll share about his life. Anyways, so he, in his early life, he was, you could say, very materially attached, really degraded person, actually. And specifically, he was attached to a prostitute, and her name was Chintamani. So, and what happened is, one night, one day, one night. He was going to see her, but it was just raining. You know, like in India, sometimes it rains, and just. So then he was going to cross the river to see her. Of course, there was no boatman there because they didn't want to. So then he was swimming in the river. I mean, he's risking his life, actually. So then, he sees a dead body there, and he grabs into the dead body, uses it as a, way to get across the river, more or less. So then he's there, and he gets to the other side, and it says he's climbing the walls, and he's like, snakes, and he's, trying to hold on. He's like falling on the ground and hurting himself. And he gets there to the door, and he's a complete mess. Means, you can imagine he's soaking wet, and he probably scraped himself a few times, and climbed up the wall and fell down the wall and all these. So you could imagine he was just an absolute mess. And he knocks on the door, and she answers the door, and she looks at him, and she goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, well, I was coming to see you." I don't know what he said. If he loves her or what, I don't know what he said, but I'm coming to see you. And then she said, "If you had as much devotion as you do for me, then towards Krishna, then you'd be a pure devotee." So somehow or other that sparked something within his mind, some inspiration to become Krishna conscious. And it says in his last life he was also Krishna conscious. But so then what he did is he started off to Vrindavan to search out Krishna, to the holy place of Vrindavan. So then in the process, he came in contact with a person on the way there, and say he's a Brahmin or one man. So then the man invited him to the house, and what I'm going to say is kind of, the story is a little graphic, but so he invites him to the house, and then the man says, "Is there anything I could do for you? Do you want anything?" And somehow or other, Bilamangala Thakur, he saw the man's wife, and he was feeling attraction to the man's wife. And shamelessly, you could say, he said, I would like to be with your wife." And then somehow or other, this man, he was so, whatever you want to say, liberal or just so, he wanted to satisfy Bilamangala Thakur. He said, "Okay, fine." And interesting enough, the wife also agreed. And so Bilamangala was there, and then the wife comes in, and then in his mind he says, "I am so shameless. I am just, what am I doing? Why?" He was feeling all this guilt within his consciousness for being so low. So then, as women wear sometimes, they wear something, kind of in their hair, like a pin, keep their hair up. So then Bilamangala Thakur says, my dear lady, can I please, borrow that pin?" And then what happens? And then she gives the pin, her hairpin. And then what happens is he takes the pin, and he gouges out his eyes, both of them. So then he leaves that place, and he makes his way onto Vrindavan. So of course it's not a recommended path, right, to gouge out your eyes, but this is an extreme example. Don't try it. So then he goes to Vrindavan, and he makes his way to Vrindavan. He's completely blind now. He can't see. But due to his his intensity and in his absorption and his sincerity, he becomes a great Vaishnava saint. And he actually sees Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as a Vaishnava teacher, wonderful personality within this tradition. And so it wasn't like a imaginative him seeing Krishna. He actually saw Krishna. Krishna came to him, and he would see him through spiritual vision. And he wrote so many wonderful books about Krishna. In this way, he's celebrated within the Vaishnava world. So he wrote one, I know one of his verses he wrote. Dravida Prabhu taught me. Oh, you're still there. Now you could test me. So, Bilamangal Thakur wrote many wonderful verses. Actually, no, two of them. So one of the verses, I've said this I think last time, but anyways, he came up, so here it is. It's about Krishna throwing a temper tantrum. You know, young boys, young girls, babies, they throw temper tantrums. You know, get on the floor and freak out, cry, and all that. Okay. So this is from Bilamangal Thakur. He says, Sanskrit, and then the English rendition by Dravida Prabhu, says, Nitam neva neva nitam kaina chapitam paya kome murali iti samadhi tam tam bhuma balam namami gopalam. So this is the English rendition. So this is Krishna throwing a temper tantrum. He says, so, who stole my butter? Who drank my milk? And where can my flute be found? And Bilamangal Thakur is praying, I bowed to the cowherd child who shouts these words as he rolls on the ground. And then the other one, Bilamangal Thakur, it's about the holy name of Krishna. It says, Jive Sadaiva Bhajasundarani Krishna Sinamani Manoharani Samasa Bhaktarti Vanashanani Govinda Damo Daramadaveti. So it says, he says, Jive Sadaiva Bhajasundarani. So it's a request or a prayer to the tongue. He's praying to his own tongue. Jive Sadaiva. Please always chant Sadaiva. Bhaja, worship. Bhaja Sundarani, the beautiful names of Krishna. Jive Sadaiva Bhaja Sundarani. Krishna Sinamani. Manoharani. So they still the mind or enchant the mind. Samasta Bhaktarti Vanashanani. And they destroy all the sufferings of the devotees, if they have any. And names and examples are Govinda, Damodar, and Madhava. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. So, and there's so many wonderful verses by Bilamangal Thakur. So, yeah. So that's the... Yes, you're welcome. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bilamangal Thakur ki jai.